Welcome back. So last class we have discussed about time independent Schrodinger wave equation. Then today we are going to discuss about time dependent Schrodinger wave equation. Okay. So here, as we know that the displacement of a wave function at any time is given by displacement of a vector at any time of instant t is given by psi is equal to psi naught e power minus I omega t. Right, so it is displacement vector, displacement of a wave function, right? Then as we have this equation at any instant of time, at any instant of time t. Okay, so if you differentiate this equation with respect to time t, differentiating with respect to time t, so that what we get, that is dou psi by dou t is equal to minus I omega psi naught e power minus I omega t. So now this becomes totally, that is this one we know that this one is a psi, so that's why it becomes minus I omega of psi. So call with this equation as 1. Then we have that total energy of the wave function or a particle which is moving in wave motion, that is W is equal to total energy, or we call that one as the E also, it is E also. Okay, don't worry about it. So now this W can be written as h nu, as we know that nu is a frequency, so this frequency can be written as, so that is h, if you multiply it divided by 2 pi, it becomes 2 pi nu divided by 2 pi, so that becomes as we know that 2 pi into frequency, that is nothing but angular frequency omega, right? So if you substitute here, what we'll get, that is equal to h omega by 2 pi, means your total energy W becomes h nu divided by 2 pi, that can be written once again in terms of h cut as h cut omega by h cut omega, right? Okay, so now this omega can be extracted as, this omega can be extracted as, this is W is our total energy, this omega it can be extracted as W into 2 pi divided by h, so that is nothing but 2 pi W divided by h. So this is what omega in terms of total energy. And also we know that minus I is equal to minus I square divided by I, so this can be once again written as 1 by I, right? So if you substitute these two equations, these two terms, this A term and this B term in equation 1, what we get is, this is our equation 1 here, what we get is if you substitute minus I and omega terms, that what we get is d psi by dt, as we have differentiated it partially, you can write that one as dou psi by dou t is equal to 2 pi W divided by h into I into psi, that gives the differential equation with respect to time, right? Now, so if I extract total W from here, so what you get to W psi, so this W psi becomes IH divided by 2 pi into dou psi by dou t. So let me call this equation as 2, right? Calling this equation as 2. Now we have that expression of a one-dimensional Schrodinger wave equation. So one-dimensional Schrodinger wave equation, Schrodinger's wave equation is that is dou square psi by dou x square plus 2m divided by h cut square into w minus v of psi is equal to 0. So if I write this one in terms of three-dimensional equation, wave equation, this equation becomes del square psi plus 8 pi square m divided by h square, because I have written this h in terms of h cut only here in this first equation. So this can be written in terms of h also, that is w minus v of psi is equal to 0. So if I substitute this w, total energy, if I substitute from above two equation, if I substitute here, what I get, substituting equation 2 here, substituting equation 2 in above equation, what we get, that is del square psi plus 8 pi square m divided by h square. So this is h square into w of psi is there, so I can split above equation, that is 8 pi square m divided by h square of v of psi, that is equal to 0. So if I send this v term that side, or if I send w term that side, what I get is, after substitution of second equation here, I get del square psi plus 8 pi square m divided by h square into I h divided by 2 pi into dou psi by dou t minus 8 pi square m divided by h square into v of psi, that is equal to 0. So if I send that this whole term into right side, what I get is del square psi minus 8 pi square m divided by h square into v of psi, that is equal to minus 8 pi square m divided by h square into I h divided by 2 pi into dou psi by dou t. Right. So then if I rearrange these equations, so what I get is, by multiplying the whole equation by 8 pi square m h square, what that is actually becomes this term can be once again multiplied here, that is I need to remove this term. So what should I do? I have to multiply this whole equation by h square by 8 pi square m, right? So if I multiply this whole equation by h square by 8 pi square m. So that is with negative sign. If I multiply, what I get is minus h square by 8 pi square m into del square of psi, that is with the plus sign of v of psi, that is equal to I h divided by 2 pi, that is dou psi by dou t. So this is what equation we get with the time dependency. So this, once again, this equation can be written as minus h square divided by 8 pi square m into del square plus v into psi, that is equal to I h divided by 2 pi into dou psi by dou t. So this is what we call as time dependent Schrodinger wave equation. So this is also it is an interaction of wave function with the energy, that is nothing but a potential v. V is the potential energy, how it interacts with the energy, and how it is dependent on psi, how it is dependent on time also. So that's why it is dependent on time and position. That's why it is called as time dependent Schrodinger wave equation. This equation is very important in further part of the quantum mechanics that you are going to study in higher education. So till now we have studied about time dependency and time independency of that Schrodinger wave equation on psi, right? As psi, how psi depends on wave equation. Okay, so now let us continue to the part of that is the physical significance of wave function. Physical significance of wave function. So see here, as we know that a wave function is nothing but a wave equation, we have that one psi. Psi is nothing but a displacement of a wave function, that is psi is equal to psi naught e power minus I omega t. So as this psi is called as a state function because it tells about the state of the function or state of the particle, where time t is equal to 0, what is its position, and at time t is equal to t time, that is what is its position. So that's why it is called a state function. So we need, before going to the physical significance of this wave function, let us first understand what are the properties of this wave function, right? So properties of wave functions comes as this psi actually tells about the state of function, state of the particle at time t is equal to 0. What is its position? That is only dependency on position, that is psi of x, we write, right? Then this psi also tells about the state of particle at t time, at a particular time after the when it starts to motion. So at time t, what is its position, or what is about its state? So information of that particular particle will be given by this state function, that is nothing but psi. So psi is also called as a state function or wave function, and it is a very important property that it will give every information about the particle, right? And what its properties are, mainly this wave function or state function is always have definite or finite derivative. Actually here we define everything in terms of partial derivative, means it should possess finite partial derivative. If it possesses finite partial derivative, then this wave function is a proper function. Then this wave function is a single valued function. Why it is single valued function? Means as it moves with a particular time and position, it will give us information about single particle. That psi gives about a single value of that particular particle. It will not have any other values which will give other parameters of the particle which is moving in a wave motion. So it is called as a single valued function. And moreover, this function is a continuous one. This function is a continuous function, because as there is a existence of a derivative, then it should be a continuous function. So these are the main properties of that state function, that is nothing but psi. Physical significance of this psi wave function or state function is given by this psi contains all measurable information about the particle. As I told that it gives information about the particle, where it is at time t is equal to 0, where it is at time t is equal to particular time t, right? Then this psi is a continuous function. I told the psi star into psi summed over all space is equal to 1. That is nothing but a probability of finding this wave function in a particular constraint, particular region, which will be always equal to 1, as I will tell this for particular term in next session. And this psi allows energy calculations via Schrodinger equation. As we know that this psi tells about, or we can study about this particle wave function, how it interacts with matter and energy by the Schrodinger wave equation only. Right? Then this psi establishes the probability distribution in 3 dimensions. As we know that it not only gives its properties in only 1 dimension, we can extend this wave function in all 3 dimensions also. So it will give probability distribution, how it is distributed over all 3 dimensions. That information will be given by this psi. And this psi permits the calculations of effective average value or expectation value of a given variable. So this expectation value and this average value of any variable will be studied in further part of this quantum mechanics especially. But actually any variable if you take, so you can calculate the average of that particular variable which interacts with wave function can be calculated by this psi. Okay, and this psi for a free particle is a sine wave. For a free particle it is a sine wave. We will study this in 1-dimensional box in further part. So implying a precisely determined momentum and total uncertainty position. So as we know, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle tells about there is no exact time you cannot calculate both momentum and position simultaneously, right? So that is uncertainty principle. With the same uncertainty principle also this wave function is defined and calculated and studied its properties in advanced quantum mechanics. Okay, so these are the physical significance. And moreover, we know that any wave function possesses its energy, and this energy means it should possess an intensity, right? Intensity, as we know that in classical mechanics parts, intensity will be directly proportional to amplitude of a wave function, a square of the amplitude of a wave function. In a similar way, here also energy density, that is energy density will be equal to or directly proportional to that is amplitude of this wave function, that is nothing but psi naught square. So actually we directly write this one as also as a psi square, because this wave function is nothing but it is a complex number, it's a complex quantity. So this mod of psi square can be written as psi star into psi, where psi star is nothing but a complex conjugate, and this psi is nothing but complex value, complex quantity. So if I take the mod of this psi square or mod of the amplitude square of this wave function, this will give about a probability density. Probability density means it is the quantity that will give the possible existence of that wave function in a particular region, that is in 3 dimension. So if I consider the 3-dimensional element, that is dou tau is equal to dx dy dz. So it is called as a volume element, where our probability of finding the particle is existed in this region. So that can be represented as probability of this wave function with respect to the position, that is given by P of r into d tau. So it is the probability of finding the particle in the region that is nothing but 3-dimensional region, that is dx dy dz volume element. This can be once again written as mod of psi of r comma t square into d tau. So this is nothing but it is dependent on both time and position. So that's why we are writing psi of r comma t. So this is nothing but psi star into psi, that is dx dy dz. So it will give the probability of that finding the particle in a particular region at a distance r in x, y, z dimension. So this is called as a probability density. So this was actually first given by Max Born and Dirac. Max Born and Dirac give this physical significance or a notation of the probability of finding the particle in the particular region, this value. Alright, so as we know that if that particle is constrained, within the particular region, means like a hydrogen atom, electron will be revolving around the first orbit, so it will be always revolving around the first orbit. So that is, in physical problems like electron in an atom, a particular particle in a box with the impenetrable walls, like means if this is a nucleus of atom, so this electron is revolving around this one, right, in an atom. So as it is revolving around this atom, it is constrained within that region, means the particle are bound within the limited region by the appropriate forces. There are electromagnetic forces are there, nuclear forces are there, so they will hold that electron within that boundary, that is a region, limited region. In such cases, the location or position of the particle, is assumed. It is fixed that electron will exist in that particular region only, but the total probability of that finding particle, finding the particle in that entire space, is unity. Means that is nothing but, as we know that probability, that is P of R in the particular region of dot O will be actually equal to 1. So that can be written as the integration of mod of psi comma R comma T mod square d tau will be always equal to 1. So this integration is nothing but we are going to find the probability in the entire region, that is nothing but in the value, correct? So this is nothing but probability will be equal to 1. So this condition of getting the probability that is equal to 1, that is called as normalization. That is our normalization or normalized wave function. This wave function is called as normalized wave function. Normalized wave function means its existence is fixed and it is complete within that entire limited region that we are going to find the particle, right, where the integration is taken over the entire space. As I told that this integration is total entire the space. A wave function satisfying the above is said to be normalized. So this is called as normalized wave function. Any solution of the wave function can be normalized by multiplying or dividing its constant. So as we know that the Schrodinger wave equation, any wave equation psi satisfies Schrodinger wave equation, that is nothing but dou square psi plus 8 pi square m divided by h square into w minus v of psi is equal to 0. So this is what that's a wave function will satisfy this equation. The probability density over the entire space is C. Let us call this probability of getting the particle or probability of the wave function in the entire space is C. So let probability over entire space is C. Then C is called as a constant, as it is nothing but a number, so that I can call as C is a constant value. Then the integration of psi star into psi, that is d tau is equal to 1. This can be also written as mod of so this is equal to psi C. Why? Because we have considered this entire probability over the entire space is C, right? So that is integration of psi star into psi d tau is equal to C. So this can be written as mod of psi square into d tau is equal to C. So now this C can be taken into this left side, that is 1 by C integration over psi star psi d tau is equal to 1. So now this is as C is a constant value, I can write this C as integration of psi star by root c into psi by root c into d tau is equal to 1. So I got that information that 1 by root c is the coefficient of this wave function. So that wave function is nothing but psi of root c, psi divided by root c is a wave function. Totally this satisfies that Schrodinger wave equation, where this 1 by root c is called as normalization factor. This 1 by root c is called as normalization factor. Normalization factor, because it makes that this coefficient only makes that wave function to exist completely in that entire space with the probability equal to 1. So, and the wave function, when this 1 by root c is multiplied, that wave function is called as normalized wave function. Normalized wave function. Normalized wave function, right? And as it is a complex quantity, so if I want to write complex conjugate, then that will become psi star divided by root c is also a normalized wave function. Normalized wave function. Both will satisfy the equation for Schrodinger three-dimensional wave equation, right? Now, if this psi m and psi n are two different wave functions, if psi m and psi n are two different wave functions, two different wave functions, both satisfying the three-dimensional Schrodinger wave equation, then they are said to be normalized if they are said to be normalized if that entire space, that psi m star into psi should be equal to 1. So, and this even that psi star m into psi m, this is okay, because of we are going to calculate the probability of this wave function entire region with particular, that is psi m. So this if it is said to be normalized, it should be equal to 1, its probability should be equal to 1. And similarly, that is psi n star into psi n over entire space, this is also equal to 1, as both are normalized. Then as they are normalized, if I take the probability of psi m star into psi n, different wave functions in a single space, that is equal to 0. The probability of getting both the functions at the one single space, that is equal to 0. So this is called as orthogonal. So those wave functions which will give the probability is equal to 0 with two different wave functions, that is called as orthogonal. So these wave functions is said to be mutually orthogonal. This psi star and psi n star and psi n. So both are called as mutually orthogonal wave functions. So the wave function is said to be orthogonal. Okay, so orthogonal means both the wave functions are perpendicular to each other. It is nothing but, so as it is normalized means both wave functions are in the same directions, and if I take, it is called as, if I say these wave functions are mutually orthogonal, then they are in the mutually perpendicular directions. It seems like a mutually perpendicular. Okay, so this is called as, one is normalization and the other one is orthogonal. So if that wave functions both here, as we have observed here, see here, this wave function of a particular wave function is normalized, psi m is normalized and psi n is also normalized. But both, if I take that is nothing but the probability of both the functions at the same time, then I will get orthogonal. But they are mutually orthogonal. right? So it means these wave functions are called orthonormal. Orthonormal because both are normalized themselves and they are orthogonal with each other. So that's why both are normalized and orthogonal. That's why these are called as orthonormal wave functions. Okay. So next class we are going to study about if the particle is confined within a box. So as we know that the electron is revolving around the hydrogen atom, that is at a first orbit. That is a constrained, that is nothing but it is limited in the particular region, right? So if that particle is taken as a free, and if I left that particle in a particular box with a one-dimensional box, then how that particle behaves, what about its wave nature, what actually it tells about, and what about its energy. So that we are going to study in next class. See you. Thank you. Bye.